I have played Ghost of Tsushima around 10 hours now, and I only found one major flaw. So I don't really have the right to be making this video, but I don't care. But if you do enjoy the video, please remember to subscribe. I hope you like donuts because here comes the glaze. Alright, let's talk about it. As popular and beloved as Ghost of Tsushima is, even 5 years after the game released, I still went into it pretty blind. I really hadn't seen much at all. I'm pretty sure I saw a few seconds of gameplay years ago, but I overlooked it at the time. But when I saw that it was available on the PS Sub, I figured I'd try it, and boy oh boy, I was not ready for what was ahead of me. I don't really care a lot about graphics or cinematics, until the game makes me care, and this game excels at that. The atmosphere is so gorgeous, and that opening, wow. It reminds me of how it felt exploring the open land of Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, I really need to finish that game, and I will, of course. I was immediately drawn in by the visuals and the story, but there's always 3 things I need for me to really like a game. And there's a specific order they almost always occur. First is the basic movement. Honestly, I build a lot of my expectations from the first minute of controlling my character. I like reactive gameplay and I hate slow walking or sluggish QuickTime events. Why do QuickTime events always feel so slow? I hate it so much. However, this game moves with speed and flow, like a samurai ought to. The whole opening is absolutely incredible, and the swift movement really enhances the momentum. Alright, check. First crucial element gets an A. On to the next. Second, and really the most important to me, is the combat. Every game I get addicted to has great combat. Sekiro is the only other game I've played similar to this one, but Stellar Blade probably has my favorite combat I've experienced in a recent game. And yeah, I actually like it for the gameplay. This game's combat is nowhere near the level of Stellar Blade for me. It feels far more realistic and immersive. It fits. I'm actually glad it's not too flashy, but just flashy enough. Honestly, it's much better than I expected based on the little gameplay I had previously seen. I get really excited anytime I encounter a random group of baddies. But needless to say, I'm really enjoying it. And I feel genuine nerves when certain enemies are in the mix. I like that the enemies don't seem like mindless zombies that swing blindly like a sugar-high child at a piñata. They are strategic, and when you start to gain the upper hand, they adapt, both as an individual and as a group. Honestly, it's really well done. It's the kind of combat I could spend many hours with and stay entertained. You start by trying to survive, then you try to control the fight, and eventually you drop the mop and clean the room without a scratch. God, it's such a satisfying feeling. But I really need to get better with the bow, because then I become the child that swings at the piñata just to miss and hit himself in the face. The last thing I want to talk about in regards to the combat is the mini-bosses. Unfortunately, I haven't really gotten to a proper boss other than the beating I took on the bridge. I shall have my revenge. Boy, was that embarrassing. Anyway, I have encountered a few mini-bosses and they're tons of fun. I'm surprised at how well balanced the game's difficulty is so far. Honestly, I've played basically every FromSoft game relevant to their core gameplay, aka the Dark Souls, the Sekiros, the Bloodborns, and the Eldest of Rings. So I always appreciate a game that rewards reflexes because that's my fighting style. You'll often see me putting all my stats into decks and loading up that glass cannon build. So I've been mainly using the parry counter, and quick dodges when I have to. But I recently remembered that you could just straight up block. I forgot about that. Which I will absolutely never do because I'd rather bury myself in the sand during a tsunami than battle like I'm Courage the Cowardly Dog. But it's great that the game allows you to approach the battles in different ways, including stealth. This actually has good stealth. I'm much more like Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls, and I have no idea why I'm referencing 90s cartoons right now, but why not? Leave a comment of your favorite 90s cartoon, if you have one. Mojojojo. Anyway, we were talking about samurai swords and piñatas, so focus, Lotus. So the third thing is really just an add-on to the second. And I can't say that I'm fully sold on this because I simply haven't encountered it yet. But for me to really love a game, we need some S-tier bosses, baby! Good bosses make or break a game in my opinion. The bosses are what it's all about for me. And well-designed bosses will usually overwrite all the flaws. Or at least it'll help it pass the class after slacking off on the homework. For instance, I played Resident Evil 4 Remake last year for the first time. And that's not usually the kind of gameplay I opt for, but I absolutely loved that game. I know, it's blasphemy that it took me this long to play it. Better late than never, right? Yeah, that's a game that lived up to the hype. And one of the biggest surprises was just how insane and imaginative the bosses were. I didn't expect anything more than some growling mobs on their way home after a day of filming The Walking Dead. And let's be honest, there's plenty of that. But there was a surprising amount of interesting enemies. And really interesting bosses. Even though Ghost of Tsushima is a totally different game, I am actually hoping for some dark fantasy vibes, possibly in the later game. Pretty much want that always. Knowing how well the mini bosses incorporate a combination of what the pawns dish out, I'm extremely excited for the main bosses. Please, please deliver me the goods. I have a feeling I won't be disappointed. And if they do let me down, you can bet I'll be back with a video about the heartbreak. Oh, and I did promise one flaw about the game, didn't I? And I'm certainly not one to pull punches. In fact, I love being blunt. And honestly, I love getting criticism too. So feel free to let me know how to improve, as I'm still learning how to crawl when it comes to making videos. Alright, here it is. The moment you've all been waiting for. The flaw is fall damage. Fall damage in this game is a joke. This guy couldn't survive falling off the toilet. He probably faints when he steps off the scale. I heard he didn't even get his diploma because he couldn't survive standing on the stage. It was too high. I have no idea how he rides that horse. But there must be a mechanic in the game that treats falling 2 feet like you somersaulted off of the Eiffel Tower. Unbelievable.
Oh my.
Anyway, see ya.
Poor innocent
I
eyes.
could have saved my father. If only I was older.
Not the cheeks.
If I wasn't so afraid.